Special session, April 30th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Here.
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 Steve Jones.
Here.
Ike Richard.
Here.
James Higginbotham.
Here.
Milton Seymour.
Here.
Becky Atkins.
Here.
Ms. Becky's going to announce who's going to do the pledge, and I'll lead us in the prayer.
Tonight, our pledge will be led by our students from the A+ Virtual Academy. And so following the pledge, following the prayer, it will be led by David Casanova, who is a third-year student, and Gabriel Gocho, a fourth-year student.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd like to present them certificates for participating in our meeting this evening. And I'd like to recognize Mr. Billy Pinack, a high school teacher with the program, Bernadette Jennings, and Ashley Cresios for helping us have the students here this evening. Thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Lord, please guide us in the right direction tonight to make these lengthy decisions that we have on a day-to-day basis for our teachers, our students, and our staff across the system. Thank you for everyone in the audience today, and give them safe travels home. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, students and staff, for the pledge. Appreciate y'all. And thank you, Ms. Becky, for getting them. Item 2.1, consider approval of the low base bid, $312,450 received for ESSER 3 funded project at Rain High School Gym AC Addition.
I so move.
I have a motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mrs. Atkinson. Any questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Item 2.02, consider approval of low bid of $461,060 for ESSER 3 funded project Iota Middle Classroom AC replacement.
I so move.
I have a motion by Mr. Seymour, second by Mr. Richard. Any questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the board? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Item 2.03, consider approval of the low bid of $568,650 for ESSER 3 funded project Muir Elementary Classroom AC replacement. I have a motion by Mr. Richard, second by Mr. Jones. Any questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Ayes have it, motion carried.
I make a motion with.
Wait. I messed up from the start. Okay, I'd like to add an agenda item. John, are we okay to add it in now?
Yes, sir. You're fine.
Okay, thank you. I received an email from Superintendent Brumley with the state, and it's in reference to a lawsuit that's going around the state. Multiple parishes have joined in, and I see Mr. Higginbotham raising he knows about it. So I'd like that we put that on the agenda, and then we can discuss it, and I can read it. Anybody opposed to putting that on the agenda?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
the item we added would be for the board to consider a resolution to join as a party in the state of Louisiana versus United States Department of Education lawsuit.
Okay? That's the way we need to read it?
Yes.
I so move.
I have a motion. I have a second. A motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Higginbottom. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Geis. So on April 19, 2024, the U.S. Department of Education released new Title IX rules effective August 1st, 2024, which expand the interpretation of discrimination on the basis of sex to include gender, identity, and other categories. For example, schools would be required to allow biological males who identify as females to receive access to women and girls' locker rooms and schools' restrooms, or face sanctions for a rule violation of the basis of sex discrimination. Educators would be required to reference students by names and pronouns and not consistent with their biological sex, and erode parent notifications. In such instances, educators would be unable to discuss their students' preferences with parents in certain situations. The new rules would force schools to establish extensive bureaucracies to policy free speech on campus, which would most likely establish a potential huge unfunded mandate. So everybody understand y'all know what it's about. We know what the world's going to. So thank y'all. I appreciate all the board members focusing on this tonight, and we added in. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Make a motion to adjourn the special session.
Thank you, Mr. Higginbottom. I have a motion, we adjourn.
Hey, Mr. President,
Yes, sir?
are y'all going to vote to consider the resolution or?
Yes.
We need to put that on the agenda.
We need it. So we go ahead, Mr. Geis.
Well, I appreciate the first vote you took was to add the
Okay.
consideration of the resolution to the agenda and joining the suit. So
Okay.
the appropriate motion, if it's the will and pleasure of the board, if you wish to join this suit, the board should move to adopt the resolution that would authorize the Attorney General to add your name to that suit.
Got you. I entertain a motion. I have a motion by Mr. Higginbottom, second by Mr. Jones to add the resolution. Any questions or comments from the board? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank y'all so much, guys. I messed that up. Sorry, Mr. Geis.
You're good.
Thank you for pulling us out. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Higginbottom, second by Mr. Richard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carried, meeting adjourned. Thank you. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Getting there. Go ahead, Bozo.
I'd like to call the Budget and Finance Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Tito A. Mayor,
Here.
James Etta David,
Here.
James Higginbotham,
Here.
Lynn Whitbedo. Here. Steve Jones.
Here.
Review the budget's actual comparisons to general fund and all special revenue funds.
Good evening, everyone.
Go, Justin.
As of April 24th, the board has collected 76.93 of expected budgeted revenues, right at $70,022,720. And the board has expended 72.89% of expected expenditures on the mid-year budget, right at $66,361,903. The numbers will come online once accruals are done in June for the teacher and para salaries that are 9-month accrued employees. So as of now, the board's adopted mid-year budget of a deficit of $17,898 is in line with the budget. I think we're going to finish a little better than that, hopefully a break-even budget, basically, at this point. I'd welcome any questions any of y'all may have.
Appreciate you, Justin.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
2.2, consider revenue for the 2024-2025 budget.
We got a handout for y'all in regards to that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So we're trying to predict revenue for next fiscal year. If you remember, a few weeks ago, we projected a shortage of general fund revenue for next fiscal year, right at $1 million. We do have some good news in regards to that. That first column of numbers, that's the board adopted mid-year budget. And as of March 5th, and then you'll see the increases and decreases column. If you see basically a red number, it's not good. And if you see a black number, it is. Basically, the state has basically reconciled our MFP count from October 1st count to our February 1st count. And we expected to receive, even though we had a decrease in student count, because of the budgeted amount, we actually going to receive more than we expected of around 367,000. So looking at next year's budget, it's, you know, a 65 student count decrease for next year is only going to be about a $33,000 decrease because of basically the way the budget worked for this fiscal year. So the good news is, instead of having $1 million shortage for next year, we're only looking at around $500,800. So basically the revenue is going to be just $500,000 short next year compared to this fiscal year, which is, you know, really good news. I know we want to always have more revenue, but that's better than $1 million deficit.
What was the decrease in student count
We're projecting about 65 students for next fiscal year.
this year?
This year, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but it was around that number when you combine February and October 1st.
65?
In the years past, the way it used to work is you get your October 1st count, and then the state would reconcile your MFP and adjust your MFP. Well, now they wait until you get your October 1st count and your February 1st count. So your adjustment doesn't come till March 25th. So it's pretty difficult to predict at that point in time because not every student is weighted the same. Some students are weighted 2.5 an MFP count. So depending on which student we actually lose as a parish, directly it affects the amount of money we receive. So that's some good news. And then you'll see the local revenues for next fiscal year are projected to be increases. We are projecting about a 2.5% increase in sales tax for next fiscal year, holding steady. That's right where we at this fiscal year. So, you know, that's on par. We are seeing more online collections, which is helping our sales tax department.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you, sir.
is this, I know this is not a hard number, but that's going to depend on what we decide on this insurance as well, correct?
Well, the revenue's a hard number.
Okay,
Everything else is, that's the expenditure side.
okay.
Yeah, the expenditure side is, basically the board has some discretion on the expenditure side.
Thank you. I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Abear. Second. Second by Mr. Quibido. Mr. Jones. Any comments or questions from the audience? Comments or questions from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. 2.3, consider bids received for child nutrition, small equipment, paper, and cleaning supplies.
Standard bid process for all our, normal small equipment and paper supplies. We only had 5 items on the small equipment that weren't bid. We had 54 items tried to bid. We had 49 of them received a low bid, 5 not. Basically, we're going to go back out and look again. And then on the paper cleaning supplies, all 61 bids were received and all 61 meet bid specifications at this time.
I make a motion, consider the bid received for child nutrition, small equipment, paper, and cleaning supply.
I have a motion by Mr. Abear.
Second.
Second by Mr. Jones. Any comments from the audience? Comments from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bud.
Have a motion by Mr. Jones.
I have a motion by Mr. Jones that we adjourn,
I second.
second by Mr. Abear. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries, meeting adjourned.
Personnel, Insurance, and Curriculum Committee come to order. Roll call.
Gino Abear,
Here.
Jensetta David,
Here.
Becky Atkinson. Here. Mike Reshore. Here. Milton Seymour.
1.5. Recognition of South Frame Elementary be named comeback campus of Louisiana Department of Education.
Ms. James, I'd like to address what exactly the Louisiana Comeback Campus recognition is for. A school earns that recognition when they have achieved increasing the percentage of students scoring mastery and above on the state assessment in math and ELA, while also decreasing the percent of students scoring unsatisfactory in those areas. So I really have to recommend the hard work and efforts from all the teachers and staff, as well as the students, for their hard work in earning this recognition. Their school performance score that they received last year is the highest record for that school. So kudos to
Sure. Can you come to the mic?
please.
He can't hear you on the computer.
As you know, we talk a lot about the NIET process, and I just want to recognize the hard work that they do. They have a committee that meets as an instructional leadership team in the afternoons after school. If you're part of the instructional leadership team, please stand up. So these ladies are dedicated. Dedicated to planning and preparing the information that they push out in the weekly professional PLCs. Their administration goes into those classrooms and assists and monitors daily. They have a system of rewards that they have set up for the students. They are the most motivated, hardworking individuals that I know that have the best interest of their students, so congratulations to you. And they were also recognized, Ms. Kimberlyn Slagle, who works with us for NIET, spelled it out. They had a 5% increase in mastery and above. They had a 6% increase in mastery and ELA. They had a 7% mastery increase in math, a 6% increase in science, 4% increase in social studies, 5% increase in the students who are considered economically disadvantaged, and an 11% increase in their subgroups of African Americans. So it was phenomenal. So congratulations to you.
Can we get starting in the back? Can we get starting in the back on this side? Stand up, introduce who you are and what you teach, please. Thank you.
I am Mr. Frank Andrews Jr. As of the school, I would say I'm just a SPED instructor, but I also am the Acadia Parish Gifted and Talented Musical Theater Director.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm Dakota Thibodeau. I teach fourth grade ELA and science.
Thank you.
I am Sri Patno. I am the secretary. I'm Natalie Ducey, and I'm the PE teacher. I'm Rhonda Marquez, I'm a paraprofessional.
Brittany Foreman, and I teach fourth and fifth grade resource.
Sheila Melanchon, paraprofessional. Connor Reynolds, special education.
Eric K. Deja, ELA and science.
Gabby Bouchard, I. Sarah Root, math, fifth grade math, science, and social studies. Tori Ware, school counselor. Sandra Byrne, fifth grade, ELA. Anna Fonda, fifth grade, science. Lauren Rowe, fourth grade, math.
Lisa Rodette, fourth grade science and social
true paraprofessional.
Amanda Buchanan, fourth grade ELA.
Claire Senegal, principal. Ashley Granger, disciplinarian.
Henry, paraprofessional. Joseph Venable, paraprofessional.
We'd like to present this banner to all of you. If you'd like to come up and we'll take a picture of this. And I just want to comment about your shirts. I love the style. You always have so much style. But the color is kind of makes me think of army green, and you are a fierce army that tackled a very hard job, and just kudos to all of y'all.
Is mine? You see if the phone's too close to that and make a good noise. No.
Come on up, come
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Roll over. Hold on, we moving. We shifting. I can see her. Thank you, ladies, for being here tonight. Gentlemen, please, don't be strangers. Y'all are always welcome here. Okay, thank you for what you do for South Crowley, and thank you for what you do for our students.
South Rain.
South Rain, excuse me, I'm so sorry. South Rain, I'm sorry. Thank y'all so much.
Give them time to get out.
As we continue, 2.1, receive update on Head Start.
Ms. Chairman, the Head Start program received their monitoring report from the Focus Area 2 review that was held in the fall. The director has received guidance from the Office of Head Start Program Specialist, and she, along with the management team, are working on action steps to correct their areas of noncompliance. So they're actively doing that currently. The budget revision for the excess funding request to allocate funds for the $500 stipend for Head Start staff was submitted. They're waiting approval from the Office of Head Start. The program also received the Office of Head Start COLA funding guidance in the amount of $79,229 with a minimum increase of 2.35% adjustment in pay for Head Start staff. So they are currently working on applying that increase. They are also currently actively recruiting and accepting applications for enrollment into the program for the school year of 24-25. And their final culminating activity that they are currently preparing for is conducting their graduations in May at all of their Head Start centers.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Thank you, Ms. Carroll. 2.2, consider AMI Kids Acadiana Agreement for 2024-2025.
I make a motion to consider AMI Kids Acadiana Agreement for 2024 and 2025.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Abear and second by Mr. Seymour. Discussion from the board?
Yeah, I'd like to ask the
Yeah, Mr.
guy that here with AMI to please stand up and introduce himself and give us a little rundown on what's going on at AMI.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christopher Duhon. I'm the new Director of Operations at AMI Kids Acadiana. I've taken over since January. Been with the program going on 8 years, I want to say. In and out, all field and stuff like that. And I came back home to the kids. Is there any questions that you guys like to ask about anything?
Yeah.
Currently, right now, we're at 32 kids. We're pushing our way to 36.
Y'all are not holding 36.
We're not holding 36 right now. We're waiting for more packs to come in for more intakes. Yes, sir.
What y'all average, y'all been like since January?
Since COVID, we've been like 28 to 30, and as of these past couple of months here, we've finally reached over that 30 mark. Right now, like I said, we're currently sitting at 32.
What area are most of your kids from right now?
Most of our kids right now are mainly up north, Shreveport, Bossier area. We have a few from around Baton Rouge, New Orleans area.
No Acadiana area kids?
I want to say maybe 2 kids, maybe like not Acadia, but in, like around the area, such as Appaloosa, stuff like that.
It's built in design to take kids from the 3 parish area here in Acadiana.
That's correct. I guess maybe some of those kids have more severe offenses, which our facility is not capable of that, such as high-end attempted actual
Y'all
murders.
got a handle now on the escapees? For a little while, y'all was 5 and 6 going out at a time.
Yeah, again, now we are a 9-prison facility, 9-jail operated facility. So we are not secured. We're not blocked by a fence or anything like that. It's just all about the kid. Their preference on what they want to do. If they decide to run, abscond from the facility. It's things that we can do to prevent it, such as coaching, talking, teaching, giving better methods of ways of life. But at the end of the day, it's still their choice whether they want to stay there or abscond from the facility.
You gotta make them. You have to make them want to stay there.
Yeah, of course. And at the end of the day, that's our ultimate goal. Is to reach one each day. What I'm saying? If we could reach one, then maybe they'll pass their message on to their peers and encourage them to also do what they're doing, which is stay within the facility.
How many of these facilities they have in the state?
AMI, that's the only one right now. Y'all have anything else?
We have we have one in Baton Rouge.
Program?
Second?
Is that one a day program?
The day program, yes, sir. We have one up north in Acadia Parish, yeah. And of course, we have one within the 50. Well, we have 40 plus programs within the 50 states.
Now, when you receive or accept a kid from, say, Shreveport,
Yes, sir.
what's the process? And they contact you?
Everything goes through the Office of Juvenile Justice System. They present us with a packet, which
You can accept it or
yes, sir.
decline it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually one of the ones that comb through the packets. And again, if the kid, activities or behaviors doesn't fit our program, or we can't find that proper treatment for that kid, then there's no way that we would put him at a disadvantage and bring him within our facility.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So we always want the kid to get the best treatment.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you don't have to take kids that don't fit into your program?
Yes, sir.
That's good.
Until you don't have 36 kids in the bed, then you start making you take.
At the end of the day, they can't make us take them because, again, why would you want to put a beetle in an ant pile?
I understand. I've been there. I've been in your shoes.
So again, it's all about the safety and welfare of the other kids that the program as well.
That's good.
That is exactly our agreement with.
To give them education.
We do
We provide the education, the special ed, and
We're putting money into this, or we just the go-between?
we the go-between. Office of Juvenile Justice provides the funds to us. It would either be,
So their test
That-
scores go through us?
they did last year.
Yeah.
Which they were, from the start, were never, ever supposed to. But I don't know what happened, but last year we did. And we get tax hard because these kids are not trying, I can assure you. They're not gonna try to make above average. They're gonna more or less put their name on it. But those kids, we have a choice of either this place not being existing or they're in our
Yeah, I understand.
facilities.
I just wonder how much.
Which I think is best.
Costing us, and not only financially, but grade-wise and school-wise and stuff.
Score-wise, I think the only thing that would hurt us financially, I don't think they.
It did kind of impact us last year with our DCAI index. So there is a slight impact. It's a couple of tenths of a point depending on what they score. So there is a slight impact.
Is that gonna happen again this year, that they're gonna be,
We never know. It just depends on how many kids end up taking the test and et cetera. So
Is there a lot of the 36? How many of those 36 were here in January? Is there a big turnover?
Yeah, since January,
I'm just,
we never was at 36, okay? So I'll give you on average number of 30, out of 30 kids since January, maybe 16, 17 maybe.
for the same?
Yeah.
So it's pretty good.
but for a while, they weren't taking a whole lot of kids, correct me if I'm wrong, because of COVID, right?
Correct,
You have 3 pods with 12, 12, and 12.
that's correct.
During the COVID time, they couldn't, I'm sure y'all had one closed or.
Well, during COVID time, we went from 30, dropped down to 24. And that was due to, again, COVID, but we wanted to have a quarantine going for the kids, you know, that was going through the COVID. Yeah.
Ms. Quibido, you have a question?
That's all the questions I have. Thank you, Bud, for
Okay.
coming.
Any other discussion?
Local people. Who checks on the education part of it from our, do we have anybody that's?
basically we kind of are like a flow through. The MFP dollars are allocated to us and it flows to AMI. Miss Holly, as far as accountability with testing, she stays in touch with them to make sure that they're on target with doing their interests and opportunities, to make sure that the students that need to take their tests are taking their tests. Additionally, as far as special education goes, any of their IEPs or anything that becomes out of timelines is a direct impact to the special education's status reports for monitoring and compliance factors there. So outside of that, they basically secure their own teachers, provide the education that they see that fits best with matching the standards of the tests that the students need to take.
I would suggest one thing, if they're gonna continue being a part of our testing, I think we're gonna need to be reporting there more often to.
Yes.
To have
We
eyes
do,
on them.
yeah.
Please do.
I just don't think their education people are on top of the testing part. I'm not saying that they're
It
not
is,
on
though.
top of educating the kids that are there, but the testing part, they're trying to make these kids do the best that they can on this test and not just put their name on it and put their head down on the test.
And some of my kids' defense, you know, I love my kids, you know. A lot of them have IEPs, bad. 504s, bad. Turn the light switch on. They understood what you said, but can they really go do it? You know what I'm saying? So it's all about having that pushing that back to stay on them at all times. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a firm believer in that. You know what I'm saying?
They're there because they didn't like school. I mean, they're not there because they like school, right?
No, yeah, you do have some that's there for that, for truancy.
Right.
But within the program, you will go to school. You know,
Like I
that's,
said,
it's a must.
They're not there because they were singing too loud in church again.
Correct.
You know,
Yeah,
they're there because they have a problem.
correct.
In our statement, all students who are participating in state and district-wide assessments as required by governance.
Yeah.
Test scores and accountability data from AMI Acadiana will not be used in establishing accountability ratings and/or evaluations of the schools of the Acadia Parish School Board, the accountability status of the school district, which means they should not be in our test.
Initially, they were not.
Right. but
It
they
changed
should-
the last, I think about a year or so ago, it
It's been a
changed.
year.
So
But
we'll
who
need to
changes
address
that?
that. We'll need to address that in the contract before we
changes
start. That came from the Department of Education.
Well, we need to
As
get
far
with
as,
them,
we'll
'cause,
get clarification from them
this is
before we
our
sign the
contract, not the
agreement.
Department of Education's
Right.
contract.
We'll get clarification on number 8 in the contract
Okay.
before we sign it
If
and
32 kids, 36
check on the
kids take
accountability
that
issue.
That can kick us.
We down 36. I can assure you.
Right, yeah.
I'll do some checking with the Department of
Yes, ma'am.
Education on number 8 and verify that we are,
But
Or
I
not.
still think if
and clear that language up.
if they're gonna be a part of the test, there needs to be some eyes, way more eyes on them than we have been in the past.
I totally agree.
And
Because,
not necessarily ours, but to help them as well.
Well, absolutely.
You know
yes.
what I'm saying?
You know, but
Absolutely.
it's more of a tool for them.
Correct.
Like I said, I've been in this guy's shoes. I was the executive director there, and I opened that place up. But those kids, again, they're not there because they was singing too loud in church, and they're not the best academic wise. You have to stay on them. You have to stay on.
Most definitely.
And I
Any-
appreciate you
Thank you for
every day
coming.
that what you do.
No problem.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be getting with you, Mr.
Any other
Leon.
discussion? All in favor on the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. 2.3, hear update on Blue Cross Health Insurance renewal.
So it's that time of year to start looking at renewals for health insurance. Blue Cross had contacted us end of late March, maybe early April, mid-April sometime. Basically, our plan is we have a fully insured plan. There's 40-some districts on OGB plan, which is the state plan, which Blue Cross also runs that plan. And then they have some self-insured districts like Lafayette, and then you have a few fully insured districts. We one of, I think, only 2 entities in the state that have this plan, us and a private insurance company. It's a plan that they don't even offer anymore. It's kind of what I call a hybrid plan, which is kind of the best of both worlds. We're fully insured, but we have something called a rate stabilization fund. Like, just to give you an example of how it works is, let's say your total premiums are $10 million, and, you know, after your claims and everything's spent, the administration fees, everything's covered, you only spend $9 million. Or they take $1 million and put it in a rate stabilization fund. Now, it does work the opposite way. Let's say you had $10 million, your total claims and fees and everything come out to $11 million, they'll pull $1 million out of a rate stabilization fund. So it does work both ways, but it's something that has been very beneficial to the board. I think in my 16 years here, I think we've had to utilize the rate stabilization fund twice. Now, to get to the bad news, the original number for percentage of increase came from Blue Cross at 20.4%. After some negotiations, the number got down to 18.5% for our current plan that we have now for all options, 18.5%. So we basically asked Blue Cross to give us some options. We have about $1,185,000 in the rate stabilization fund that we could use. If we were to use the entire fund, it would bring the rate down to 11.7%. That is the first sheet you see here. That equates to basically a monthly increase for the employees only, to the column all the way to the right in red, depending on which plan they use. You'll see one all the way at the bottom, a negative 1.34. Because of the Affordable Care Act, we have to offer a single only plan that's under the federal poverty line. And next year, the federal poverty line actually decreased, so we had to decrease the premium. It was $103 and some change a month, and now we'd be forced to offer it at $101.93. But every other plan would be the 11.7% increase, and that's what it equates to a month. Now, that's an employee share. We originally, as if you recall, a few weeks ago, we were budgeting a 4% increase. An 11.7% increase, we're looking around $900,000 more than what was budgeted for the Acadia Parish School Board to try to find a way to absorb. And that's the really bad news is we would have depleted our entire stabilization fund that we'd be allowed to deplete. So we asked Blue Cross, can you give us some other options? And we do have 3 representatives here. Another option they came with, and this is gonna be a lot different than what Lafayette has implemented and what other districts have implemented. They are offering to come in with a Medicare Advantage plan that's completely optional for retirees that are Medicare eligible 65 and over. What does that mean? They'll be able to tell you more about the plan. The retirees would have an option. Basically, the way it works is they all get enrolled into the plan, into the Medicare Advantage plan, and then they can opt out and stay into our plan. They don't have to go with the Medicare Advantage plan, but they would originally be enrolled in it and then they could opt out.
Why is that?
Basically, because we have to have a certain percentage. I think we have to have 25 or more retirees enter the plan, or it's not even an option. It's basically, we would send letters out asking them, would you like to opt out? And then Ms. Patty can probably tell you more about the educational side on, we'd probably have to have a couple meetings here at APEC, offer the retirees to come, have Blue Cross sit down and tell them all the ins and outs of the plan. But basically, the retirees could choose to either stay in our plan or go to the Medicare Advantage plan. Now, what's the catch? There's always a catch. So that plan would reduce the rate from 11.7 to 10%. Now, but not use the rate stabilization fund of the $1.2 million. We would still have that available for next fiscal year. So that would be the second page, the 10% increase. The catch is currently, if you look at the top portion, you see active and retired without Medicare. And then underneath that, you have retired with Medicare. That retired with Medicare column would go away. Basically, your retirees, if they chose to stay on the Acadia Parish School Board plan, would have to pay the same premiums that the current active employees are paying. Not more, but not less. It's basically, they would have to pay so someone right now that's retired over the age of 65 with Medicare, that's on the PPO plan, is paying $219.68 a month. If they chose to stay on that plan and not go with the Medicare Advantage plan, they would have to go up to the active employee at $365 a month. So it is more expensive to stay on our plan, but it's not more expensive than what the current active employees are paying. It's the same amount. Now, what's beneficial to the retiree? Well, the Medicare Advantage plan, and they'll be able to pass some more information out, and Ms. Patty can better go over it. She's the expert on the plan. The premium for that is gonna be $91.35 a month. So an active retired employee right now paying $219.68 a month would have the option to have a plan for $91.35 a month. Or they could choose to pay what the active employee's paying. What most districts have done, some districts have done, is they forced all the retirees on this plan. We just don't feel that's probably the best interest of our retirees, and off the record, we're trying to do something different. Lafayette gave their active employees a 5% increase and their retirees a 15% increase. We don't want to do that either. That's not really fair to employees that put in 25, 30, 35, 40 years of service for the Acadia Parish School Board. So we're just trying to find ways to make the plan stable and not deplete the entire rate stabilization fund. And look, Miss Patio, she can, I'll let her better explain it. She's got some handouts. Yes, sir.
This amount of increase, did that have anything to do with the Acadia Parish medical cost in a year?
It's
or just Blue Cross or
directly,
just
it's
jacking it
directly
up?
related. And I'll be completely honest, the price of prescription drugs are out of control. And like, it's the majority of it's the prescription medications. And Kelly Holt can clearly talk about it. It's the prescription medicines. It's not the inpatient hospitals. It's not the outpatient hospitals. We're currently paying around $20 million in premiums a year. The school board is picking up about $13.5 million, and the employees are picking up about $6.5 to $7 million of this plan.
We're gonna go broke over insurance.
It's a no-win situation. We're trying to mitigate the cost as much as we can and still try to provide a good benefit to the employees and the retirees. That's the whole goal. What we don't want is the plan that becomes so unaffordable that it's not even an option, and then we got to take our $800 deductible plan and turn it into a $3,500 deductible plan.
It's there now. It's unaffordable now.
But you know, the governor just cut teacher's salary and we turn around and we cutting their salary.
Well, some things,
It's gonna be tough.
yeah, some things,
There's no way we can control like
yeah,
that. No
so
way.
there's some things the board has limited control over. It's basically based on usage. We just have a lot of large claims, and Kelly can really talk about our claims, and it's unfortunate situations, and I wouldn't want anybody to be in those situations. We just have quite a few large claims. I think there's 35 or 36 claims with payouts over $350,000. That's not what the insurance billed. That's not what the doctors billed. That's what the plan has paid out for those individuals. And that's, it's tragic. It's heartbreaking. It's just,
For sure, we're not the only parish that's
no,
like that.
no, every parish around, if y'all been reading the news, every district is pretty much struggling with health insurance on what to do with health insurance. It's not a good situation. It's basically, that's kind of where we're at. It's basically, we got two options. Use the entire rate stabilization plan, rate stabilization fund, drop it to 11.7, or implement this optional Medicare Advantage plan, keep the fund, and we're at 10%. Either way, the board is looking at a significant increase in what was projected.
We can't deplete them funds.
No, that's what I was going to ask. I talked to 3 superintendents today. Every one of them is grappling with this problem. Every one of them is going to make changes. A lot of them are going to go to this PPO. But the question comes up, if you deplete that rate stabilization plan this year, where are you getting that 1.2 million next year to make up that difference? There's no place to get it.
It's a gamble. There is no place to get it. But I always use the analogy, all we're doing is kicking the can down the road.
Absolutely.
That's basically all we're doing is kicking the can down the road. This problem's not gonna go away. It's gonna continue, and it's not just health insurance, it's property insurance.
There's nobody else out there beside Blue Cross Blue Shield that would provide us.
That's what I was gonna ask you. How many parishes in the state use Blue Cross?
If y'all the only ones, y'all have the monopoly. And again, like I said earlier, y'all should be in jail. Y'all should be in jail.
There's 40-something districts with the OGB plan, which is the state-sponsored plan. It's run by Blue Cross Blue Shield. The
All
vast
parishes
majority.
around here are, pretty much.
Yeah, I will tell, looking at, you can looking at United Healthcare, looking at some other funds, Blue Cross does get the biggest discounts from the doctors. They do, they get, like, y'all get your EOBs, y'all see what the doctors charge, they may charge $450, but the payment's $91. You're not gonna get that same discount from, and look, I'm not up here to defend Blue Cross, I'm just up here to tell y'all what the numbers are, and this is where we're at. And they can better explain to you how the Medicare Advantage plan would work. It's something probably 3 years ago was probably not a good plan, but Blue Cross took this Medicare Advantage plan and completely changed it. Every doctor that currently accepts Medicare basically would fall under this plan. Like, I even got a confirmation today, MD Anderson would fall under this plan. So there are, she can better explain it than I can.
But you're right. A few years ago, it was not that good a plan. And what people see on television about these advantage plans, that's a whole different animal from what they have.
That's correct.
Oh, it's a whole different animal because they, basically, Ochsner's is a big provider, which y'all cover. MD Anderson is a big provider, which y'all cover. All the drugs, and you run into drugs like Trulicity and all these diabetes medicines, that's $1,100 a piece if you pay out of pocket. So when you get their price, it's a lot cheaper. This plan, when I was selling it at Farm Bureau, y'all didn't have this plan. I've looked over this plan. I've talked to Steve Bandy at Louisiana State newspapers. You people have this plan. Steve Bandy told me he hadn't paid a penny out of pocket yet except for one tier 3 antibiotic. That was it. He's pleased as punch with this plan. So, and like I said, y'all switched a year ago, and the superintendents I talked to today, every one of them are talking about doing this with their retirees, correct?
We have a lot of them.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think the goal, what I wanted to stress was it's optional. We're not forcing the retirees on this plan, but the only catch is they lose their discount.
That's my question. My wife and I, Medicare, both former employees. On the 10% one, you said that second group is going totally, so how much would I be paying? The $639.05?
Yeah, you'd go from the $480.99 to the $639.05. Yes, sir.
So that's whole second thing that's on it. To stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield would cost me $200-something more a month.
Yes, sir. Or you could enroll in this Medicare Advantage plan and y'all would pay $182 a month. And you'd save yourself
Lot.
$300 a month.
To give you an idea, somebody that's not working for the school board, I'll tell you what I'm paying. For me and my wife, we're paying $744.46 a month. You can get a plan for $191 is what he's telling you.
But there's got to be, you can't get an apple and an apple, can't pair for the two plans.
I'll leave it up to her.
That's gotta be a lesser plan.
That's why she can.
It really isn't. Again, folks, thank you. My name is Pat Starnes. I handle all of the group Medicare Advantage plans for Blue Cross in the state of Louisiana. First off, as the gentleman was saying, these are not individual plans. So when people see commercials on TV, that's not what this is. These plans are designed for groups and primarily for school boards and public fund entities, cities, states, et cetera. They put these plans into effect for this reason, to help groups such as yourself to save money. Now, these plans are not inferior. In fact, this plan is better than the current plan you have today. And here's why. It's a national PPO plan, and your members can use it anywhere in the United States, at any doctor, any hospital, any lab they choose, as long as that provider accepts Medicare. They don't have to live in Louisiana. If they travel a lot, they can use their plan anywhere. And everything on this plan is a zero copay. So if they go to a doctor, zero. Lab, zero. A hospital stay, zero. Everything on this plan has a zero copay. Now, again, as I'm saying, anywhere in the United States. So the key to a plan like this is the provider does not have to be in the Blue Cross network. I gave everyone a copy of that summary of benefit. You're more than welcome to look at that at some point. But you will see on both sides, whether you go to an in-network provider or an out-of-network provider, everything's zero. Now, there's just one possible copay on this particular plan, and that's under the emergency. And what that does is we would hope that members do not use an emergency room. If it's something like, you cut your hand, you need a few stitches, and you run to a hospital emergency room. If they use a hospital emergency room for a non-emergent visit like that, they would pay that $50. Urgent care anywhere in the United States is zero. Now, on the drug part of the plan, what's great about Medicare Advantage plans is Medicare does subsidize the cause of the drug, the cost. So that's why on all of the tiers of a plan like this, it's a low tier for a drug that you might be taking that's extremely expensive. So on a plan like this, all of the generics are zero for 90 days. So if members take generic medications, we can provide those for a zero copay for 90 days. Now, again, some of the brand drugs, as you were saying, some of the diabetes drug, the Ozempics and the Manjaros and those drugs are in the $1,100, $1,200 range if someone was paying for it out of pocket. On this plan, the copay for it is $45. So if I'm on your plan, taking that drug, $45 is my copay. And we'll even take it a step further. Even a specialty drug, which when we talk about the drug costs are going up, a specialty drug would be some of those drugs. I always say if you see it on a commercial, it's really expensive. Humira, here's an example. Humira is a drug for arthritis. That medication costs $7,418 a month. So if there is a member taking that on this Medicare Advantage plan, their copay is $100, period. I'll even go a step further. There are two drugs that are chemotherapy by mouth, pills. If you're on those drugs, one costs $10,000 a month and one costs $22,000 a month. Again, if your members on those plans, those drugs, on this plan, $100, period, is all they will pay. Now, what makes these Medicare Advantage plans even better is because we can offer additional benefits that traditional plans like you currently have can't. This plan comes with comprehensive dental, $2,000 worth of dental, zero out of pocket for the members. It comes with your vision. You get to get your eyes examined, again, zero. $300 we provide to you to get your glasses or contacts made. It has a hearing benefit. If you needed hearing aids, we give you $1,100 towards the cost of hearing aids. And then we also give the members $100 every quarter to spend on over-the-counter products. So over-the-counter products like vitamins, ibuprofen, Band-Aids, toothpaste, toothbrushes, anything over-the-counter that a member would need, we give them $100 to spend. And they can go to a Walmart, a Walgreens, a CVS, places like that. We actually put that on a card. It's a debit card. You will see a brochure. Oh, maybe it's in the brochure, but I can certainly go over that as well. So on that card, we load that money and the members can go use it. Now, again, also, a free gym membership. If they choose to go to the gym, we give them a free gym membership as well. Now, I know a lot of people, I do a lot of these meetings throughout Louisiana. People will sit in the room and say, yeah, right. All of this for zero. All of this, zero, I'm not going to pay anything out of my pocket, and I'm only paying a $90 premium. How is that? Here's how. Because you have Medicare A and B, and those are the only members that can be on a plan like this. If you don't have both A and B, you can't be on this plan. Your benefits for Medicare, they're paying 80% of the cost of your care today. So what happens with these plans is the 20% that Medicare doesn't cover is being covered by this premium of $261 that you're paying for each member. And obviously you're passing that on in the cost of $90-something. So, look, these plans are not new. I welcome you to please call and talk to some of your other school boards. I can tell you now that we have Calcasieu Parish School Board has been on this plan for over 4 years, this exact plan. They have 1,500 members on this plan. We have Caddo joined us as well. We also have a lot of city entities, City of Shreveport, City of Baton Rouge, City of Monroe, City of Pineville. Almost every city in Louisiana has this exact plan. Other school boards as well. We have Zachary School Board. We have Lincoln Parish School Board has been on our plan for 6 years now. This exact plan. So, I welcome you, please. If you know people that work there and have a plan like this, please ask them how they like it. This plan has been such a savings for school boards and parish entities because of the fact that you're giving them really a better benefit, and it is a lower price point. Now when we talked about how would we handle people being moved over to the plan like this, it doesn't create a lot of work on the part of the HR or benefits department because we have the data in our system. We can basically pick up all the members that have A and B, pick them up and move them to this type of plan. Now, the key to this is we absolutely want to have meetings so that your retirees can come and hear about the plan and understand the benefits and how to use it. And at that point, we could then provide the option for them to opt out instead of being moved over to the plan. The most important thing is when the seniors know how to use these plans and understand the benefits, the easier the transition is. Now, I will be honest with you, it's an extremely easy transition. We're still Blue Cross. We handle the claims. Everything comes through Blue Cross. Medicare does not get the bills anymore. All of the billing comes to Blue Cross. Your members would get a new Blue Cross card, and that's all they have to show. This is not a secondary plan. So today, they're showing 2 cards. When they move to this, they don't have to do that anymore. So again, it's very streamlined. And you have to look at it this way. Members today that are using their plan at the doctors they're going to now, they accept Medicare because they're accepting their plan today. So those exact doctors are going to accept this plan. So that's the transition where you're not having to be worried that your doctors aren't going to accept the plan. Now, I will touch on this as well. From our standpoint, when it comes to medications, every program has a formulary. But the great thing about a Medicare Advantage formulary is if your drug is not on it, you can still get that medicine. It just takes your doctor to put through an exception that says, Pat needs this drug, this is why, and we can provide that medication. So again, we make it to where it's very simplified for your members to use it and to understand it. So that's basically the plan, at a high level. I mean, I'm certainly welcome to answer any of your questions or concerns.
Ma'am, I'm not an insurance person, and this is way above my pay grade.
Yes, sir.
But I don't know if I've ever paid less for something that's better than this. Why? There's got to be some disadvantages over the plan we have right now, right?
There isn't, because you have to have Medicare A and B. Medicare A and B is funding 80% of the cost of your care on this plan. So that.
So retirees with A and B.
Correct.
Can get.
Yes, sir. Now, because remember, you're paying for Part B. All of the members are paying for that. So, you have to look at it that way. So it would be your $91, $2. That's going to be your premium cost, but you do have to keep paying your Part B premium to Medicare. That doesn't go away. Yes, sir.
Really not just $94.
But they're paying that today. They're paying that today on their plan. So they're paying the 174 plus 200, still a savings. Yes, sir.
Yes, a question from the audience.
If a retiree elects to go to Advantage Plan, are they stuck there or can they elect?
They can flip back. So remember, at this point, we are proposing this as an option. We're not forcing anybody to move. So if they come on board and they use it for a year and they say, this is not for me, then they get a choice of whatever your options are at your next open enrollment period. So that is how we're proposing this plan as an option.
That's pretty much an exception made for Acadia Parish, isn't it? That's be able to go back, is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You'll allowing everybody to go back, or?
Again, it would be your rules. You guys would create the rules. Some of our school boards do move them and make it mandatory, and that would be their only plan. But of course, how we're proposing this is as an option to your members.
Yes.
And just for informational purposes, if you're a retiree of Blue Cross Blue Shield, Kelly and I, when we retire, this is the only plan we give our very own retirees. It's an exceptional plan.
I know in my plan, I don't get dental or vision or any of that stuff. I mean, I'm with United Health, and I'm paying a heck of a lot more. Like I said, combined it's $744.
Yes.
So this is a great plan.
If somebody doesn't have Medicare Part,
Uh-huh.
can they get Medicare Part?
Of course.
Get into this plan?
They can. So the question, if someone does not have Medicare Part B, they would have to get it. And you can get it because it's considered a special enrollment period for someone that doesn't have that. They could go to their Social Security office and let them know that they need to get Part B in place because of a new plan option they'd like to move to, and they can get it at that time. So once that is in place, your Medicare A and B, then we could put them on this particular plan. And that's true throughout the year. In other words, they don't have to move exactly at the time of your open enrollment. If someone later on goes out and gets their Part B, just as long as they bring it in and show us the card, at that point we can move them. And it would be the same concept as people that are aging in. We call it aging in, right? Someone turns 65 and they're retiring. At that point, we can move them into a plan like this whenever they get to that age and have the Medicare Part A and B in place.
Not 62, 65.
Well, however, if it's someone that is disabled, sir, and they have A and B, regardless of their age, they can be on a plan like this. So even if there was a child that was disabled, if they had Part A and B, they can technically be on this type of plan. So it's either being disabled or have the age 65 with the A and B.
She keeps pointing at me when she talks. She don't know that you're only 45.
So I have a question. I don't know that y'all could answer, but is Blue Cross Blue Shield looking to fix the problem with medication? Or are we just gonna go up 20% again next year? Because
Yeah.
we're not getting no younger. Nobody's getting younger. And, why are we just gonna be forced to pay another 20% next year? And then we gotta find more money. And before you know, we gotta find new insurance carriers.
Well, I'll be honest, it's a national problem. I mean, the cost of drugs is the same for all carriers, not just Blue Cross. I wish I had that answer because, I'm sure everyone wants to hear that as here's the fix. Really, the fix is working with these drug companies to really start, creating a copay or a plan where there's discounts. On Medicare Advantage, they do at times reduce cost of certain medications, and they did that in January of this year, actually last year. So if anyone is on insulin medication for diabetes, it is capped at $35. And that was a Medicare mandate. So on a plan like this, yes, Medicare can mandate some of those costs, and they negotiate with these drug companies and get the cost where it is, sustainable.
Sure.
But, unfortunately, I really wish I had the answer to that because, for a drug to cost $20,000 a month, it's tough.
like a shotgun approach. The good got to suffer for the bad. You know, you might have a room of healthy people right here that don't ever use medication at all, but you got just 2 down the road that exceed all these 20 people or whatever. You follow what I'm saying?
No, I
So,
understand.
I know there's a discount if you use generic drugs. Is that correct?
Right, well, on our plan, it's no cost if members want to use generic. If they can, of course, we can find, they can get the brand drug. And again, it's a specific tier and it's that cost, period. It never goes up, it's never more, it's whatever the copay is.
Like Trulicity, what would that be?
That's a tier 3 and that's $45 a month.
Yeah, ma'am, if you're presently approved for a drug with Blue Cross and you switch over, you'll automatically be approved?
Well, there is a prior authorization that we have to resubmit, but yes, our members that are on current drugs, they're not at a disadvantage when they move to a plan like this because they can get the same types of medications they're taking today.
So Justin, what kind of time frame we got to move on this?
Normally, we would meet with the insurance committee, like the school board has an insurance committee.
Correct.
Outside of the school board, made up of retirees and active employees. Ms. Carroll thought it was pertinent that the board hear this presentation
Sure.
before going to the committee to see what options the board is looking at. Last thing we want to do is present something to the committee that the board's not really interested in. So the sooner the better. We just kind of needed to know tonight the direction to go in. As far as meeting with the committee, I think we were trying to schedule it
For May 8th.
May 8th at 8:30 in the morning. So the committee.
I really think it'd be worthy to offer the retirees to come in to listen to the plan. I mean, if we could set that up, a meeting for you
So,
guys, we'd appreciate it.
The first thing we would do is take it to the insurance committee, let them hear the proposal, see what their wishes are or what they think about it. And then after that, if that's the direction that we choose to go with that committee and with the board, then we would, of course, schedule some additional meetings with Blue Cross to come in and present the Medicare Advantage plan and have multiple meetings with our 65 plus and retirees to see who is going to switch over or who's going to opt out of the Medicare Advantage if that's the direction we go. Correct. We recognize that.
Questions like, do we still go to the
Exactly.
same doctor?
Exactly.
Go to the same hospital?
Yeah.
Right.
We still go to the same.
Absolutely.
And that's why we want people to
That's
come.
what they're scared of.
Right, I understand.
I don't think
truly
I'm
understand.
ready to make a decision on that, just like nobody is. We
No.
just heard it tonight. To give you direction, I can't do that tonight.
No, it's just.
You understand?
No.
It's a discussion.
Because there's way too much, I'm like Milton. I mean, this sounds really good, and I know you're an honest
Really good.
person. And
Yes, sir.
my daddy told me a long time ago, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And I just want to make sure you're telling me the truth.
Aye.
And I think everybody that's listening out there is saying the same thing. Steve, don't make a decision tonight, okay?
That's fine.
So I think your information was great. You gave me a lot of things to think about. I have a choice.
And I have provided.
I can decide whether or not it's worth me going $200 more because I'm gonna give you an example. Trulicity is $45, what you just said.
On our
The
plan.
most I can remember paying for a 3-month is $25 under the plan right now.
But you're saving $200 a month if you move to a plan like
I
that.
understand that, and I'm a mathematician, so I gotta put all that together.
Right,
In this 70-year-old head.
I understand.
It still
Yeah.
doesn't, you know.
And also, I did provide names.
Is I gotta know in December, if I'm gonna pay $3,000 more than what I did last year, I'm on the budget too,
Of course, I certainly
Where,
understand.
where do I, the school board's trying to figure out where they're gonna get it. I'm trying to figure out where the heck I'm gonna get it too. And, I mean, this program looks like it's putting money back in my pocket, but the bottom line is, even my Trulicity is not exactly gonna be the same.
Oh, no.
And I take, believe it or not, about 18 different Trulicities, okay? So everybody has their unique situation. I don't think I can make a decision tonight, and I don't think you.
No,
You know,
no,
Nobody's asking for
No.
that.
you wanted guidance.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna give you
The
guidance.
board to- the point I wanted to stress to the board is that even if we implemented this plan, it's optional for the retirees. And to me, it's a win-win situation for everyone.
Absolutely.
The retirees are not forced into this plan, they can stay on the active plan. That's what I wanted the board to understand, because I know there's a lot of news articles about parishes forcing retirees.
That's what I was going to say, there are parishes doing that, though,
Yes.
right?
And that's what, that was the goal of tonight, was look,
Well, and-
this is how the plan works. But don't listen to what the other parishes.
One local parish has already met with retirees twice, from what I understand, and going to have a third meeting. And they probably going to do it. But they've already had two separate meetings with the retirees.
I'm not saying we're not gonna be doing something. But those of us that put 40 years in and have retired, when the day I signed the paper, one of the benefits that I really liked and everybody else liked was the benefits that we got. And the benefit that we got was no matter what the insurance was, I only had to pay 35% of it. And we're not doing that to our employees. We're saying, okay, you have a choice, but it's not a heck of a good choice. My choice is to add $200 more a month to if I decide to stay with this plan. And if I stay with this plan, it's not helping the school board out an ounce, really. You know?
yes. And I did give a list of,
Everybody understands what I'm saying. It's
I have
not as easy as you making it sound. You know, oh, it's a great decision. You know, he even said it's a no-win, you know,
Right.
no lose situation. There is a lose situation.
okay. I did provide,
Maybe for the school board,
Right.
Non-retirees.
but you got a lot of people as non-retirees, that's, you know.
11% increase a year is unbelievable.
Well, the original was 18.
Right, but just to say where, if we're gonna end up, I mean, I don't understand.
And I like what he said. He said the most important thing of all of us, what's gonna happen next year?
Well, if they're not
Well,
gonna fight
again,
to
we continue
reduce the prices of drugs, guess what? It's gonna be 25% again next year.
And then we're gonna
the year
go
after, and
to-
the year after.
Then we'll have to
They're
be
not
looking at
gonna
going to
fight.
another plan.
They're not gonna fight to reduce anything. They making money and plenty of it.
Well, I'm not here to dog them.
I'm not dogging them, I'm just saying that. we
I'm
can't
here
pay
to,
insurance
you know, if we get, understand we gotta save the school board some money, but we also have to take care of our employees.
Yep,
We they dedicated their life, whether it was for 20 years, 40 years, some people put in 50, knowing that the school board was not gonna make crazy decisions we're breaking their heart, we're breaking their trust. I can't do that. And I'm not just talking about Steve Jones, I'm talking about everybody that made that same decision I did 50 years ago.
And I have friends who are still educators who have said to me they prefer insurance to go down than to get a raise.
Give them a raise and the insurance
Then it
comes
goes
up
up.
twice as much.
Yeah, every time there's a raise.
Every year, every year, every year.
But being in the insurance business, I can relate to what it's not going down. If you look at homeowner insurance today, car insurance today, company I'm with is going up 30% next month.
Everything's going up.
The housing insurance is going up 30 to 40%. The health insurance can't help but go up because of drugs like Ozempic and Trulicity and all of those things. You're living in the past if you're thinking it's not going to go up. And we have to live within a budget. And that's why some school systems are forcing this. But I'm going to tell you right now, I was in the business. This is not a bad plan. I'm telling y'all that. And if they're going on that when they retire, they're not taking an inferior product.
absolutely not.
I mean, come on.
No deductibles, nothing out of your
We have to
pocket.
live within a budget.
No copays.
I pay insurance, I go to the doctor, and it still costs me money when I leave. I go to the pharmacy, it still costs me money when I leave. It's gonna continue going up every year, until somebody fights for the,
And we do fight.
fight the big drug lobbyists.
We do
Don't have
fight
lobbyists
that.
to
That is
fight.
what our job is to do our best to help control cost for our participants. That is what we do. That is what we dedicate as employees. I mean, I live it and breathe it, and it's that is our mission, is to do everything we can to provide affordable health care and improve the health and lives of Louisianans. We contract and we go out to bid for pharmacy benefit managers on a, I think it's a 3-year cycle to go to the one that will give us the best prices for that. We support legislation that protects consumers against laws that will just allow whatever the market will bear. So that is what we do. And we also negotiate with hospitals and physicians to control cost. That's what we do. And we are committed to it. So
Well, I think y'all
if you look out there and you other companies, we all do that. That's what insurance companies do. But Blue Cross is the best. And we command the best rates. And we offer you not only a national, but an international network that your people can use and get services at a discounted rate.
I can say thank y'all for being here tonight to represent
Thank
Blue
you.
Cross Blue Shield, but if your supervisor brought all the Blue Cross Blue Shield in a room like this and said, you're gonna take an 18.7% decrease in your paycheck this year, how do you feel about that?
I wouldn't feel very good about
That's
it
pretty
at
tough.
all. And
It's
it
a
does
tough pill to
happen.
swallow.
You know, it does happen because of the type of.
Because it's never went down.
No.
It's always going, no. I mean,
I'm a
so,
consumer,
you follow what I'm
just like
saying?
you
That's,
guys, and I
that's,
have complete sympathy for where you are. I did not deliver this renewal glibly. You know, it made me sick at my stomach.
sure.
You know, it did.
It should,
Yeah.
rightfully so. I make a motion.
I would like to
adjourn.
I would like to thank everyone, the board and our audience for the discussion. 3.1, adjourn the meeting.
I mean, I so
Made a
moved.
motion, we seconded.
There you go.
Now, Justin, is
Mr.
there any way
Hebert,
that the insurance
The motion
committee,
and Ms. Atkinson seconded.
insurance committee could come talk to the board after y'all meet?
Don't live in a